Hey, what's going on? It's Justin from Killswitch Engage. You're listening to Interview Under Fire.
All right, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Interview Under Fire. This is the brother host, the one and only Sonny here today. And today I have the honor of speaking with an immensely talented gentleman in Justin Foley. Thank you so much for joining our IOF podcast series today. Bro, here we are, right? An exciting time of the year once again for you and the rest of the guys over at Killswitch with the drop of your latest album, This Consequence. Drops on February 21st on Metal Records. Justin, let me first congratulate you on reaching 26 years of Killswitch. I know you've joined the band a little bit later in that timeline, but all the well-deserved recognition. I'm making you feel old, dude. All the well-deserved recognition you guys have been getting over the years. 9 albums cemented into this band's impressive discography. I still remember when My Curse dropped on Guitar Hero. I don't know how many references you got to that, but so much to discover about this banger of an album and everything that went beyond it, what you're all about. How are you, dude? I don't think I've even asked you this yet. Like, I mean, before we even get to that, Happy New Year, if I can even say that too. We're already in
Yeah,
February.
yeah. I'm good. I'm doing great. I'm excited that it's finally going to be released and people are finally going to be able to hear it. It's been a while, so definitely happy to get it out there.
Yeah, I know you guys have been touring also nonstop for the majority of your career, at least in the last few years. I imagine, Justin, if it feels more like a blur, or does each tour carry on a new personality that ends up standing out from one to the next? It's like name the last 10 World Series champions. Like, can you name your last 10 tours? Something like that.
I'd have a much better time with World Series champions. I'm pretty sure I can go back to the 40s. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not really 100%
Okay,
sure.
well, let me put this.
You don't put me on the spot.
Rangers fan. So we
Oh,
got
okay.
we,
Yeah,
we got our first one a couple of years ago.
there's
Uh,
one. Uh, what? Oh yeah, the
Sorry,
tours.
I threw you off the game, but sorry.
It's funny. I remember them so much better. So like the earlier ones, the first maybe 10 years or so,
Sure.
10 or 12 years, I can remember specific tours. I can remember what year they happened, who we were with, and a lot of times, a lot of the different places we played. And then the ones since then, the last 10 or 12 years have more or less blurred together. And I don't really know why, but I remember very clearly tours from 2004 and 2003 and
Hmm.
all that. And I can't remember a tour that we did like 2018. I have no idea what it was. I don't
Yeah,
know why. It's just weird.
it's all right. I mean, that goes back to my point on how much you guys have been touring. And I mentioned 26 years, right? And I want to put the spotlight on you, man, because I want to turn the clock back as we have been talking about recently, 2003 even. I know how our listeners here on IOF already know how much of a nostalgic person I am, excuse me. But Justin, have you ever stopped to look back on that time in your life, right? During the band's early days and when you first joined? I know we're kind of just talking about what happened in the past, but even your time with Red Tie, like the transitioning from that band to where you are right now, how often do you look back at that timeline? Because we've reached 20 years, a little over
Yeah,
that
a
actually.
lot.
Really?
A
Okay.
lot. Well, yeah, because I am constantly reminded about how lucky I am to have fallen into this pretty good situation over the years. And it's just stunning and it's still not lost on me. And I just still think about um I just think about being like in giant buildings and playing shows. I very, very vividly remember
Hmm.
one place in Milwaukee where I was walking around the venue before the show. It was a Eagles ballroom there, and it was like a Killswitch show maybe in 2004 or something. And I was walking around, and it was a little bit before doors, and I just happened to stumble upon the security meeting that they were doing
Hmm.
there, and there were all the people that work at the venue, and they're all ready to work the show, and I just thought just hit me right in the face that like 2 years ago, I would have killed to had that many people turn up at a show that I was playing.
Yeah.
And now that many people are working at the show that I'm playing. And it was just totally a crazy thing. Like just sometimes seeing barricades in front of at like festivals and thinking you could fit a club within the barricade.
Yeah.
That, we played plenty of places that would fit in that spot. Right now, there's nothing, and it's just a spot between the stage and the fans. Just really, really weird stuff like that. So I often think about things like that.
I appreciate that answer because a lot of people, and that's okay. A lot of people will be like, no, I kind of just stay headed and focus on what's now, what's coming up ahead, not really point in looking back. But really, I feel like the past really shaped you into who you are today. And I'll be checking out Eagles Ballroom for the first time actually, down in May. I've never been out to Milwaukee before, so but
You
in
going to
May
the Metal
there,
Fest?
yeah, we're gonna be covering
Nice.
that show through our publication. You guys are playing that too, aren't you?
I don't
Am I,
know.
or did I
I don't
imagine
think.
that? See,
Like,
what did
can
I
you
say?
manifest it? Because that would be great.
You see what I said about how like oh man, how many tours have we done at this point? I don't even know. Just this is
I would
really
like to. I've
random.
never been to the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I always wanted to go. So
Neither
maybe
have I. If that's
we
something,
can
I
sneak
mean,
our way in.
if you guys are on that bill, holy shit, I mean, I'll definitely be there. So, and speaking to your point about reflecting on something like that, and I think it warrants that, a show for something for you guys to actually be performing at that. How are things over at Libica and Blood Has Been Shed, man? Can you talk about that just briefly?
Yeah, sure. Plasma Shad's pretty quiet,
Mm-hmm.
as it has been for 2 decades.
Of course, Howard's in
Yeah,
there. Everyone who doesn't know.
yeah, and it's obviously one of those never say never situations. You never know what's going to happen, but there's
Sure.
nothing really going on with that. It's just blows my mind that people even ask about it. Just think about how long it's been a mostly dead band for a couple decades, and people are still acting about it, which is cool. It's a cool thing,
Well, the
but
buzz is still alive. That's anything.
yeah, that's funny. It would be cool. It'd be cool to do something at some point, but who knows? It's
Yeah,
a lot of very hard stuff, which would take some serious woodshed to get it back up.
of course.
Yeah, and Libika stuff is a little quiet too. We've been writing a lot of stuff to kind of start working on a second route album, so we'll see where that goes.
I always wonder for someone like you, Justin, does being a part of these other two bands, does it allow you to tap into a whole other dimension of drumming that you can't maybe reach with Killswitch? I always think about something like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's very different. Very, very different kinds of playing in all the bands, and it's fun. And there's another one that I have going on right now called Fixation Arc. I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but it's with
I have not, man. Okay,
yeah, check that
I
out. It's
will make a note of this.
Yeah, Fixation Arc. It's pretty cool. We're trickling songs out, one
Okay.
at a time. Yeah, I think there are three of them that are out right now. So I'm working on some stuff with that, and that's a really fun thing to do. That's it's a metal thing. It's a heavy thing. It's almost like sort of thrashy in some ways. Um, yeah, it's different. It's a fun thing to do. So that's a very different style of drumming. I've been sort of channeling like Gene Hoglan Death era playing to try to come up with drum parts for that kind of thing, which is it's a lot of fun.
You kind of set this up for me on the next one because both of my brothers are drummers, Justin. So I always appreciate when I have a drummer on the show. I'm always excited to speak to people like you. You mentioned Gene Hoglan. I wonder, influences for someone like you, whether they're personal or even professional, who and what are they and what do they mean to you? If you can share that as well.
Yeah, he was a big one. Those Death records are great. It's totally stereotypical drum answers, but
Yeah.
they are what they are. It starts with Led Zeppelin and John Bonham, then it kind of goes to Neil Peart and Rush. Then I get into more heavy things. I got into Anthrax around then,
Yeah.
Metallica around then, and then uh, Cynic was another huge one. So Sean Reiner was a massive influence, and then Candiria after that.
Oh man, these are
With the
throwbacks, bro.
Candiria shows.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. That's
No, no,
look
Candiria.
influences where it
I don't
starts.
think I can't remember the last time I even heard that name. I mean, that was one of the
Yeah.
first bands that even got me in like an event way to Candiria and then like Chimera that around that time like got me into heavy metal. But sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but
No,
that
no,
was a
no
throwback. That
worries.
kind of like like the whole different part of my brain. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, Candiria was a massive one for me. Just probably the best. Ken is the most captivating live drummer that I've ever seen. So it's pretty
Is
pretty
that is
pretty
that the
awesome.
person you point to be like, hey, that's the guy who actually really got me to where I am today? Is there someone you can pinpoint?
No, not really, because I can't do anything. All those people that I mentioned, I can't do anything that they do.
But hey, you're
So
doing your own thing, which really makes you stand out as far as like, man, talking about the OGs of metalcore, right? Because you guys are up there, and Shadows Fall, and the Lamb of God, and I mentioned Chimera too. And but you had that groove, you had this specific way of playing that really makes you stand out. Dude, I remember when I first saw Killswitch, 2007. I made my ex-girlfriend go with me to go see this metal concert. She's never been to a metal concert before. And she's like, "Who's the guy that was just what was the band that was singing the whole time? That was great. You talking about Killswitch Engage? Oh, let me put on my curse for it. Let me put the entire As Daylight Dies. Like that was like a typical like that was for me, that was like the album for me. Something that I would typically put on like just on a regular working day. So, but what really stood out to me, my point is that you were drumming. You and I love that the examples that you pointed out, people who have influenced you, that's kind of you're creating your own personality in your drum style. And I wondered, do you teach lessons? Do you ever teach any of the like the younger generation to you come up and because nowadays everyone is trying to play like the next person, right? It's not easy to duplicate. You can name all so many different drummers nowadays, modern drums, but are you someone who would look into like teaching or if you've done that already at this point?
I did, yeah, I did when I was out of college and in college right around then until touring became so time demanding. And I always thought I was an awful teacher. I tried and I just thought I really had trouble with explaining how to do things, which is kind of teaching,
Right.
right? So
I get it.
I didn't think I was very good at it. It was just sometimes students would come in and be really struggling with it, and I'm just trying to find a way to to give instructions other than yeah, you just practice it till you get it. Like that's what I did. Why don't you just do that? But I mean, obviously, I realized it's not that easy, and I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of talent to be able to figure it out. But yeah, I didn't think teaching. It was. I felt out. I was frustrated. I felt like the students were frustrated. So it didn't seem like a very
Sure.
good match.
Hey, it goes a long way when as long as you can affect one person. And I mentioned my brothers. The older one's a teacher, so it's like it goes. What is it with drummers and teachers? It's like somehow they somehow coincide. Um, but I wanna switch gears here a little bit because I briefly mentioned you performing live. One of the things that really makes Killswitch, right, is the live presence. Like I mentioned the times when I saw you guys. I ask a lot of questions about chemistry between different members of the same band because I find those stories kind of like really interesting. I'm sure a lot of fans do. But in this case, Justin, I do want to talk about, if you can, about the chemistry between the different bands that you will be touring with that's coming up. And I'm talking about Kublai Khan, Fit for a King, Frozen Soul, Shadows Fall, Boundaries. I think that's also on the bill on an upcoming tour. There's a lot of history there too, the bands I just mentioned between veterans and new blood artists in there. Do you think it takes chemistry to make tours like this work? And if so, what kind of chemistry do you take out there on the road to make this work, like this bill?
I'm a fan of varied bills. I don't
Hmm.
like bands that are kind of I like going to a show and being exposed to stuff that you might not normally be exposed to. So
Yeah.
going to a show with four bands on it that are very kind of closely knit as far as how they sound. I'm a little more interested in things that are out there and like some weird bands um, that I never, would have stumbled upon, which would be cool. Um, and I think that we've done that with these tours. I don't think that we sound very much like those bands. I don't think they sound too much like us. I
Yeah.
think it's a nice kind of variation. And obviously the connection is that they're all heavy, but we're all metal bands, but there's so many offshoots of metal. It's just amazing. And metal can sound so varied. So that it's a fun thing to do. And we're always looking to grab new fans that might not have heard of us either. So if a band has, I don't know how many Kubicon fans know of us yet. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they're probably stoked to go see them. And then if they stick around and watch us, maybe they'll like us too. So you're always wanting to try and grab new audience, Obviously with Shads, we have a history with them going back
Hmm.
forever. So it's really
Sure.
cool that they're playing again and that we get to play some shows with them. So that'll be easy. That'll be like a time machine basically.
Dude,
Going
I
back a
remember
long time.
I remember I went to go see Gojira a couple of years ago and Knock Loose opened for them and there were fans of Knock Loose who've never heard of Gojira. You just made that point for Kublai Khan fans who maybe have never heard of Killswitch, for example. And there were people who were like, they had no idea who, like, it was the opposite way. Even Gojira fans maybe didn't know who Knock Loose was, you
Yeah, of
know?
course.
So
It's always the way to do it, to get like, I mean, if you look at our touring history, we toured with Rise
animals as leaders.
Against, and like bands like Rise Against and
Yeah.
Slayer and My Chemical Romance and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
like all over the place. Like we did Warp Tour and we did Ozfest and we did Mayhem and Taste of Chaos. Like very like hugely varied bills with lots of different bands. And for whatever reason, we've been able to cross over into some areas where there aren't a ton of metal being represented. And we
Mhm.
also like to have that and do the same for other bands when we play and bring other people in our situation. So it's, you always want to play for more people. Even the first time you ever played in a band in your own basement, you wanted to play, have your friends come over and play, and then you wanted their friends to come over and play, and then you wanted to
Yeah.
go to somebody else's basement because maybe some different people will go to that basement. It's never changed. It's just gotten on a bigger scale, basically.
It's got on the point like, how did your basement look like, And then that
Yeah,
discussion goes on and on.
yeah.
I really appreciate the perspective, Justin, by the way. Now, real quick, this consequence, let me talk about this just a little bit because this drops on February 21st. I always go back and listen to the earlier Killswitch albums, and I loved it then. I love it now. You have already had albums that have gone to be recognized as influential pieces amongst a lot of metalcore and heavy metal fans today. You had accolades, Justin. I mean, you've had Grammy nominations. Some albums went gold and platinum. Global tours, like you mentioned, and then praise from quality media outlets. All the while piling up, there she is. I see the guest star right behind you. All the while piling up millions of cumulative streams and then views in the process. You've been here pretty much since the beginning, Justin. Despite, there's maybe a lineup change here and there over the years. Killswitch has really stood the test of time. And you guys have aged like fine wine from my perspective. You stay true, yet evolved. Not easy to do. I don't care who you are. Nine albums is not an easy thing. Yet here you guys are. And hear me out here. This is the question I'm rounding out to. Knowing and being a part of that success that Killswitch has been through, right? Walk me through this. Does writing get easier, Justin, or does the pressure of several great records make it harder?
That's a good question. I don't feel, I can't speak for everybody entirely, but I don't think we feel a whole ton of pressure other than the pressure that we put on ourselves to make sure it's what the best thing we can do now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we go back and we say this needs to be better than another album or whatever. I just think when we get together and we got all our ideas and all our songs together and we start listening through them, we want to make sure that that is the best we are able to do now.
Yeah.
So, because we don't want to try to, I think if we started doing that and we said like, oh, we should try to write something that sounds like it could have come off an old album or something. I don't think we'd be able to do that. I don't think it would work. It would sound contrived, I think. But if we just want to make the record that we want to hear ourselves now, that's what we did way back then. So
Mhm.
it's not going to sound the same, but it's going to sound the way we sound now. And that's fine. That's, I think, what bands should do. And that's how bands kind of develop and have a various catalog, I suppose. And yeah, that's just kind of, I don't know if that made any sense. That's just sort of
No.
how the way we think about it. And the pressure is just the pressure of making sure that it's good enough and it holds up to the standard that we have. Like we can live with this. Like we can all happily live with this and we're stoked and we're proud of it kind of standard, rather than if somebody hears Heartache for the first time and then never heard us before and then goes straight to this album, maybe they won't like it, or like not even having a thought of that. Like if this sounds different than that, that's fine. That's great. That's a 20 plus year journey for us to get to
Sure.
this sound. So but we can't screw these songs up. Like these songs need to be as good as we can make them. That's the same. That's probably the where the pressure comes from.
I feel like pressure is a good thing, wouldn't you say? Like if it shows that you have a dedication to your craft, you put a lot of work into this piece of art. If you didn't care for it, I feel like you wouldn't feel the pressure. Like I feel pressure for
Yeah,
any for what for example, if I'm doing this podcast with you, Justin, like yeah, there's a pressure of, oh, did I ask the right questions? Oh, did I publish this in the right time? Oh, am I getting a lot of feedback from fans who are wanting to hear this band for someone like you? There's all these things that this is just me, right? From a drummer, I can't imagine sitting behind the kit and you're in the studio. Damn, I should have played it this way. You know, how many times has that crossed through your mind? So,
yeah. It's we all bounce so much ideas or so many ideas off each other too that I feel like we get to where we need to go because everyone's involved in all the decision making and even if someone comes in with a song that's pretty much fully formed, right?
mhm.
Even if that's the case, everyone's gonna make sure that they're 100% okay with all the parts, all the riffs, all the stuff, and make a tweak here, make a tweak there. So it goes through all of us because we all have our standards, and it's almost like just having that standard is almost the pressure itself. We just want to make sure that we'd be ashamed to blow it after all these years. That's one other thing too.
Short answer.
It's
That's
gone,
the
it's gone all right so far. It would be a
yeah.
shame to
I
just
think you guys are
mail
doing
it
all
in
right.
and blow it.
26 years, not that bad. I mean,
Yeah, why stop now?
and this album, I know we got about 8 minutes left, but I know this album is about 40 minutes, I think, run give or take a few
Yeah,
minutes.
it's a quick hitter.
Didn't feel like that. It was brutal yet melodic. You guys have really had this notion to have fans cry while headbanging, and you guys have fined that art over the years. This is everything you'd want for not only a Killswitch fan, but a heavy metal fan. I don't know if Jesse said this, but it sounds like Killswitch, yet there's a fresh spirit to it. I don't know who said that, but someone in the lineup said that, and I that couldn't hold more true from Abandon Us to Aftermath to Where It Dies to Requiem. That may be my favorite song. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and listen. I keep changing my mind every time I listen to this album. But the ebbs and flows of this is such a trip, bro. It's like you're left at the end thinking of what you just watched. It's like a movie, right? It felt like a Marvel movie at the end. Like I wasn't ready for it to end. I'm ready for that bonus scene, whatever that is, to set you up for the next one. I wonder how much did things change, Justin, from where you first started composing on an album like this to where you ended up finishing it? Did a lot change in between? Did nothing change, which is also fine. But did you already have a specific sound from day one for this consequence?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we had any um real ideas of what was going to happen. It was just sort of, okay, let's see what we got. What do we got, guys? What do we got? Get out your riffs and see what we got and kind of put
Scenes,
everything together.
it's like scenes from a hat from whose line is it anyway? There,
Yeah,
now I'm showing
yeah.
my age right there.
Yeah, just kind of get it all together and see where we're at. And
Yeah.
we put a bunch of stuff together and we are like, okay, it's a good start. We need some more. Put some more stuff together. Lyrically and vocally, we went through a bunch of different phases.
Hmm.
There are a bunch of rewrites in that regard. So yeah, that took a little time, but yeah, it was pretty good. I think by the time it was done, we were all pretty stoked. We all kind of knew when it was coming together that yeah, if we just again don't blow it, if we keep focused and we keep pushing ourselves, and just not being comfortable with good enough, uh, this album's going to turn out to be something we'll be really proud of, and it finally did.
I don't know why I get the feeling that when you go on stage, you just tell yourself, "Don't blow it, Justin. Don't blow it." It's
Oh
like been
God,
like the commonality
yes, that is
every
exactly what
show.
I tell myself.
You got a favorite
Yeah,
song?
that is what's happening.
Yeah.
Now you know exactly what's happening in my head. Don't blow it.
Inside Mr. Foley's head. What's your favorite song? You got a favorite song on this album?
Yeah, I think that my
Personally?
favorite one is the first one we released, Forever Aligned. I think is my favorite one.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a great one too. Um,
Yeah, I like that one. I thought that one came out pretty cool. I was stoked that that was going to be the one that we came out of the box with. So I like that. I'm really looking forward to playing that one.
dude, I wonder how difficult it is to. I don't even know if it's difficult. That when you guys put a set list together now at this point, you have to really Do you squeeze in all 9, or are you just like, okay, we really gotta fix this up, guys? Like, because
I
there's a
mean, we
lot
do
of
try.
songs.
We try to represent all the records. It doesn't happen all the time, but we try, and we try to have, we try to vary it up to for ourselves and for people that make it to multiple shows. You don't want to
Sure.
have it be too samey. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. You, another group of songs means another crunch, uh, another set list crunch. But it's not a bad problem to have at all.
No,
That we
not at
have
all.
stuff that
Um,
people want to hear. It's a very good problem.
Justin, we're running out of time, but I know we've covered a good amount of ground on this awesome conversation. First off, thank you so much again for sharing so much about who you are, really, and what Killswitch is all about, representing heavy metal in the form of art that you guys convey throughout my life, pretty much, and from the different experiences and perspectives and your timeline that you've taken and that we've discussed about, performing for as long as you have, and the people you have worked with during these records, touring, the growing fan base, the relationship you have with your bandmates, yourself, and the music. I feel like we're entering another important chapter in KSE's career, and I'm excited to see where you guys go. I mean, there's a level of inspiration of what you're doing here, and dude, you're seeing results. Let me remind you of that, okay? Celebrate those, no matter how long you've been in this. There's a reason why your music saved my life, and I want you to take a moment to reflect on that. I'm gonna finish this out with this. If you were to give your 2003 self advice from this version that's sitting in front of me, what would it be?
Um, hmm.
I feel like we need the wings for this one.
Yeah, I um I can't imagine something I'd want changed. Stay the
Yeah,
course.
okay.
Stay
That's
the
a great.
course, buddy. It's going pretty well. Just keep yeah, try to stay grounded as much as you can. Because shit's gonna change.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, but
that's
it's fun.
great. I love that answer. Some people would change, but maybe you, like you said, you wouldn't change anything because it shaped you into who you are today. Maybe we'll have to revisit
Yeah,
this in like 5 years
yeah,
or
who
something.
knows? Who knows? You always think you could be kinder to people. It's always that's one thing you're always thinking. I wish I
Yeah.
could have been just kinder at one point. You always think that. It's like kind of when you hit 30, you think you're an idiot at 20, 40, you're an idiot at 30, 50, you're an idiot at 40. It's like kind of that kind of thing. But just in general, it's just yeah, it's been good. It's been a
My
good run.
my brother just turned 40 this year and he's freaking out. I'm like, dude, I can't even, it's crazy to think about. I'm in my mid 30s and I'm even like, I didn't think I'd be here at this point, but here, it's crazy to think about. Time travel isn't invented yet, Justin. Maybe it is. Down the line, we'll take this to the younger Justin and see what he would say.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm gonna let you go here, man. Everyone who's listening, this is Justin Foley from Killswitch Engage. This consequence drops on February 21st on Metal Blade Records. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Fans listening, if you buy the record because the bands can't do it without your help, buy the merch. That goes a long way. And you can listen to this podcast on all major podcast streams out there. Check us out on interviewunderfire.com. Justin, much love, brother. Good luck to your Yankees. I have a lot of friends who are Yankees fans. All right, so that's my second favorite team. So let's take out the Dodgers together collectively.
Yeah. Honest. Didn't get anybody that can catch the ball. I mean,
Uh,
that's
dude, I was rooting for you guys so hard in October. I was like, oh man, they're gonna win it, aren't they? Dodgers, they're just gonna, and they just even sign on even more people, but whatever. That'll be a
whatever.
different conversation. Sorry, I don't mean to like.
That's starting up. It's that time.
Yeah,
It's
it
just about
is.
baseball season.
Yeah, let's do this thing. Take care, man. I'll see you down the road, brother, and much love. All right. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much for the kind words as well.
Yeah, always, man. Take care.
Face to face with what must change. Killing this disease. Pull me from the day. Save me from defeat. Deliver me a revelation to find a new belief. You are fine forever in my. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.